Hi, my name is Cindy Rang from the Fabric Patch in Ephrata, Washington, and this is my third, hopefully final video on the masks. We thought we would do one more just because every night we get hundreds of Facebook messages, emails, calls, questions about different things. So I thought if I did one more just to kind of cover some of the stuff, everybody's asking the same questions, and I thought this might help you. And I want you to know that if you're calling us, we really just have our phone system is 20 years old, and so if you're getting a busy signal, it's because we're on it, and then we hang up, and as soon as we hang up, it rings again. So I'm so sorry. We don't have call waiting. We don't have anything else. If you're leaving a message, what's happening is that while we're listening to messages, if somebody else calls, it deletes your message. So if you did not get a call back from us or a text back or a message back from us, that's what's happened. So get in contact with us again. The other thing that you can do is you can email me. My email address is Cindy, that's CINDI, at fabricpatch.net. And some of the other calls were looking for the original videos and looking for the template. We've put all of that on our webpage. So if you go to fabricpatch.net, Brianna has created a specific little page, and it's just called COVID-19 Response. So we've put everything in one spot, all of the videos and the template and any other little updates. This video will obviously will be there also. That way, if you're not a quilter and you don't care about the rest of the stuff, you can go to one place. If you are a quilter, maybe later you'll come back and see us for something more fun. So let's see. So the main thing that I want to talk about is the difference between this mask and this mask, because it is, people are getting like heated over this discussions with it. So I'm going to explain it to you, and I'm going to tell you what people didn't want to tell you. So it's kind of a secret between us, but this is what you need to know. These masks are disposable. The ones that you're making, they're disposable. So here's what's happened is, when you go into a hospital or a clinic, you always see that there's that funny little display, right, that says if you have a cough or a cold, please take one of these and protect yourself and us. So they've always had the little masks that sort of look like this, and maybe some that look like this. What's been happening with this coronavirus is people are coming into the clinics and the emergency rooms before it was all shut down, and they were taking handfuls of them because they couldn't get the masks. So what was happening was the hospital at some point, since everybody is ordering these, they could not get more. So then what happened was they put out a call to get everybody else's supply. They still cannot get more. So what they need is they need these masks. So Providence asked for 1 million, Deaconess, I don't know what they asked for, tons, Samaritan, all of the hospitals are asking for these. What they're asking for these for is these are taking the place of those other disposable ones. So when a patient comes into the emergency room or a patient comes into the hospital, they are giving them one of these. It's a single-use item. That patient is going to wear it the entire time they're there, and then they're going to take it home with them. And so that's why they need these. These are taking the place of those disposable masks. No one wants to tell you they're disposable because they don't want you to stop making them. They still need these. You need to keep making them. If you're calling your local facility and they're not taking them anymore, it just means they had a fantastic response and they have enough. Here today in Grant County, we are not at the top of this yet. They will need more. So if you have some made and you have them in a bag, hang on to them. They're going to need them. And so when they put the call out and say, we need more masks, you can be the first one at the drop-off site and drop off what you've made, and that would be really helpful. So that's what these are for. It's a very different thing from these. So the reason that we were making these is because for medical staff, if you've referred back to our first video, we talked about the fact that this protects my germs from getting onto you. The other masks, nursing masks, prevents your germs from getting onto me, or we call them surgical masks, or N95s. The N95s, we can't seem to get more of them. Everybody is waiting for the government to find them, go through and ship them out, but what's happening is facilities are thinking that they're getting a container full of N95s and they're in fact getting a case. So what was happening, this is not an N95, but what was happening is they were making the covers. So that's a different thing, to make a cover that goes over the N95, and they're just asking for a simple little cup made out of cotton fabric. That's entirely different, and if somebody has a whole bunch of N95s or they got a bunch in stock, that's what they're going to be asking for. And the reason they want it is because they want the N95 to last as long as possible. Everybody knows what an N95 is. In the medical world, they know that they have protection and they want it to last as long as possible. So that's different. If they're asking for that, it's because they got a shipment and we need to make those and send those to them. One thing you want to know about an N95 though is that they are hot. When you put them on, for me personally, within about 30 minutes, I was uncomfortable. And if I had to wear it during a procedure for several hours, I almost felt faint. For me, I am very weak, I guess. Anyway, I don't like them. So when you make a cover for that, keep that in mind, that you're making it even hotter for them. My concern is when somebody is out of the N95s, those covers haven't made a difference, and now these are soiled and they have to go away. Now the nurse has nothing. There are nurses in our community, in our county, and in our region that have been told, bring a bandana to work, because the bandana is 2 layers of cotton and they're securing it up here, and that's what they've got. That's where these come in. These are different. What we've done is we've went through as much research as we could. Being a nurse, I know about a fabric that is essentially surgical sheeting. It's what we use to cover an area, to keep things sterile, to keep germs away from things. The closest fabric that we have to surgical sheeting is that Olefun by Fairfield. Is fantastic. People have been concerned because they said, well, it's really not washable. It absolutely is washable. You can throw it in the washer, you can throw it in the dryer. The problem, even an industrial dryer, the problem is that if that's all you're using to make a bag, then after a while it's going to get all pilly and kind of nasty and gross. We're using it as interfacing. A lot of people have asked questions and have said, well, is that the fabric that you're using? No, we're putting 2 layers of the non-woven interfacing in the inside and 2 layers of cotton. So it's 4 layers of protection. So it absolutely will work to keep the nursing staff in the front, the EMTs, the police officers, the pizza delivery people, it will keep them safe. So that's what we're doing. If you don't have Olefun, if you don't have that product, you just want to make sure that you're using a non-woven interfacing that is not dissolvable in water. People were concerned about the fusible part of it. Fusible is great. Fusible isn't going to change anything except it's going to make it adhere to the fabric so that it doesn't slip while you're sewing it. The only reason we didn't talk about fusible in our original video was because we knew we were going to have a lot of novice sewers, and I thought as a quilter to add a fusible technique to that was going to be way too much. So that was why we didn't originally include it. But fusible is just going to make it easier for you to work with. It's not going to change it in any other way. So the last thing is people have said, well, I've made these really nice ones, but my hospital doesn't want them. A couple reasons why. They may not know who you are. They may not know how you've made them. A lot of hospitals are asking for is they're asking for one with a little hole so that they can slip something in. That's just a way for those managers and those infection control nurses to have some way of knowing what they are using, to know that this isn't just 3 layers of cotton, that this is actually 2 layers of cotton and they've put some sort of filter in there. There's all sorts of opportunities for filters and things that they can put in there. That's a whole different thing. I didn't design it that way because I felt as a nurse, I just didn't want to mess with that. I didn't want to, this is a funny shape, and to shove it in there and to get it out and to shove it in there and to get it out, I just didn't want to be dealing with that. So that was why that wasn't the road that we went down, but there is an option for that. And so that brings me to the idea of community support. We are here in Central Washington. We've gotten calls from everywhere, from every single state, people that are trying to organize something. That's really your best thing to do, is to find somebody. Quilt shops, they have the same information that I do. They know where to get this stuff and they know their fabrics. Nursing staff or nurses that sew, machine embroiderers have these kinds of products. If you guys organize your efforts and talk with the people at the nursing homes, the assisted living facilities, the clinics, the hospitals, the police departments, and now again, we've got the hotels calling us. We've got cleaning staff that want these. We have pizza delivery people that want them, drive-up window people that want them. We are trying to make sure that our community is taken care of so that we're not spreading it. And we're, taking care of our small little hospital. Our community is about 7,000. If you guys have your efforts and then you show the hospitals, they'll take them. They'll understand. They just don't know which ones you're making. And if you say, I've made some masks, can I bring them? If they don't need these, they're going to say no. You need to talk to somebody, show them what you're making, refer them to this video. And then you can get your community taken care of. The last thing that I want to mention is just a couple little tips, because this is what a lot of the other things were for, is people are saying, well, they're having a hard time finding elastic. The elastic is nice for people that aren't fussing a lot. If the pizza delivery people, the police officers, it's nice because it fits on your ears. You can put it on, take it off real easily. One tip that I'm going to say though is make sure that your elastic is even, if you know what I mean. Make sure that this one isn't 6.5 inches and this one is 7, because typically people have a fairly symmetrical face and it would be uncomfortable if one is bigger than the other. Another option is that if you have like a long-term care resident or assisted living resident and you really want them to keep it on more securely, again, no matter what, we're doing 2 layers of the non-woven fiber and 2 layers of cotton. You can put a thicker headband, you can put a thicker elastic, and you can go all the way around so it fits back here and up here, and it fits more securely. I didn't like these in terms of from a medical personnel perspective because it's way too cumbersome to get on and get contained and then to get off. But again, personal preference, somebody might like that. We have more people asking for the ties now because their ears are getting super sore and bloody. And so if you're doing ties, there's all sorts of things that you can use with the ties. Again, I think our second video, we talked about that, but I want to cover something very important about that. And Brianne, if you want a close up, I want to show you. When you're putting your ties on here, if you put them to the edge right here, I'm going to show you why that's not as good as if you just come in just a little bit. See the difference right there? And let me show you why. When you put this on, what happens is depending upon the size of your face right here, and if I have this tied, I could end up with a funny little flap, a funny little wing that'll happen when I tie that. And you don't want that little wing because the whole idea of these masks is you want it to fit securely all the way around. So because everybody has kind of a little different thing here, if different size, if this is too big, you'll end up with that funny flap. So if you come in just a little bit, what'll happen is that's going to, when you're tying, it's going to keep that flat against your face. So just a little tip there. Last thing, and a lot of people are asking about, is the nose bridge piece. It is critical to have that nose bridge piece in there. Again, our whole point is to make sure that it fits snugly on your face and that you can secure it on your nose. What we did with our original design is we were using the metal, the aluminum, because we felt that we could sew through that. It was readily available. No one was going to buy it all up, and we can cut it the size that we wanted. We're finding that some people, their machines are saying absolutely not, they're not sewing through it. The other thing that we're finding is if somebody is constantly fussy or they've washed it, 8, 9, 10 times, that metal can break. Then they need a new mask. So now we're trying this 18 gauge wire. It's inexpensive. You can use copper wire, which is not going to rust, or you can use electrical fence wire. Kathy Hewitt was sharing that on our Facebook page, and it works perfectly. It's inexpensive. You don't have to go into Walmart. You can actually go to your local hardware store, and they have it. This was, what, about $8 worth, and this is great. And we were saying 18 gauge. This one is 16 gauge. So you could do, and you can see, that's going to hold its shape really well. And if you look on our Facebook page, what we were doing is we were cutting 3 inches and then just curling up that edge so that you don't have a sharp edge. And then what you can do is you can either just do a little zigzag stitch, you can do a pin tuck if you know what that is, using your pin tuck foot. Or if you just don't want to mess with that with your machine, you can easily just hand sew it down on the inside. But the nose bridge to hold it in place, or the nose wire, it is critical if you're making them for medical staff. Because again, the whole point of these is if the medical staff is out of everything else and they're waiting for these N95s to come in, this is something that will keep them safe. And that is our whole focus, and that's everything that we're doing here. So I think that probably covers most of the questions that people had, and that's why we were saying on our website, not these, make these. But again, the hospitals are still asking for these. I want you to know why. And that's why, too, you don't have to make these super crazy. You don't have to put a nose piece in here. You don't have to put the stabilizer in here. You could. That would be fantastic. But these have a whole different purpose than these do. So, again, if you have questions still after watching all of this, if it's created more questions because this is the first time you're seeing this, go to our website, fabricpatch.net. Find that page. All of the other videos are on there. The template is on there. And if you still have questions, you can contact us. We'll answer you as quickly as possible, but we answer the phone all day. We're passing out masks all day. And again, maybe someday you guys will come back and visit us and you'll see that we are known for other things. We design beautiful quilts and we're fun to hang out with. So anyway, hopefully this is the last time you'll see a video regarding the masks, and we hope that all of you are sewing, taking care of your communities, and staying healthy.